then how was it that you were introduced to United Artists, and how did you become working for them?
Well, that's kind of interesting because my husband and I then moved back to Washington, D.C., where we had met at an anti-war demonstration in 1969, actually, is where we met, because that's sort of an interesting little sidebar. 250,000 people, and we had to meet each other. We went back to Washington, and he was looking to get into cable television, because in Oregon, there were the mountainous areas and the remote areas had cable television, which was basically in that time just television signal retransmission. It was really a giant antenna. It didn't have really any original programming or anything like that. But it was the industry that I thought would need the satellite programming. So he went to, this is an interesting story. He's a lawyer, Bill, his name is Bill Koplovitz. He went to interview with Bob Rosencrantz, who was the CEO of UA Columbia Cablevision, cable television company. And he's always been very promotive of me, so when he went to do his own interview, he said, oh, by the way, my wife is doing, she's this, and she's really great and all this sort of stuff. So actually, I was hired sight unseen. I called myself sort of like the pig in the poke, hire. And you want to hear something strange about that? I mean, do you mind these strange stories?
No, that's what this class is about, is strange stories. They remember those.
So the only person, Bob Rosencrantz was the CEO's name, the only person he called was one of my best friends from Washington, D.C., one of the guys I worked at ComSat with, Alan Casper, and he's a patent lawyer. Alan's a patent lawyer, and so he's still a patent lawyer. But he called him up and he said, I'm thinking of hiring this Kay Koplovitz, and you should put your name down as a reference and a business reference and all this sort of stuff. And I just want to know, is she one of those flaming feminists, or does she have two heads or something? I haven't met her. I'm thinking of hiring her. I'm interested. Alan called me and he said, what kind of interview was that? But no, Alan just said nice things, I'm sure, about me. Anyway, I was hired sight unseen. And what my husband and I did was we did cable television franchising. We went around night after night in communities and pitched for cable franchise licenses against many other companies, because in 1973, that was a really big movement that was going on. Cable television companies, it was UA Columbia, but Comcast and Time Warner, and people that you know about today were around Cox and so forth, and we all competed against each other night after night, and it was a game, for us. My husband and I just looked at it as we were just out to win a game, and we won almost every franchise we competed, hundreds of franchises we won. Finally, our boss said, look, you got to stop. I don't have enough money to build all these, so you got to stop doing this. I was ready after 2 years. I said, I can't go to these town hall meetings anymore. You'd sit there all night long waiting to get on, on the agenda, listening to every little complaint of everybody in town. It was an education. I learned a lot about the industry very quickly. But I certainly didn't want to do that. I wanted to do the program network, so I said, I'm leaving. I've got to launch these networks.
So